same-sex attracted people or same-gender loving people, however you identify, if you are within the LGBTQIA plus acronym, this message is for you. And I've observed, I've listened, I've focused in, I've even did self-introspection on how I view our relationships, our romantic and sexual relationships as same-sex attracted people or same gender loving people. And there's so much variety, and there's a lot of confusion about how we should conduct ourselves in relationships of the same sex. So if you are a lesbian, if you are gay, meaning a gay male or a gay female, if you are bisexual, you can listen to this message and apply it accordingly. Bisexual people, because they have the ability to be attracted to both genders and sexes, they can kind of understand what it's like to be in a relationship, whether it is a straight relationship or a gay relationship, because they're bisexual. There are some gay people who have dated someone of the opposite sex, either because they just were pressured to be with the opposite sex, or they experienced comp head, and or they may just wanted to have the experience just to get to know themselves better and just exploring their sexuality. So we have so many different experiences and situations that we have lived through, and yet many of us still are not sure how to conduct a relationship between two people of the same sex. I think it's very important for us to address our relationship concerns, our relationship issues, as well as our relationship questions and our relationship interests. We need to have these conversations, and unfortunately there's not enough of them. And so I am going to do this video message, and hopefully this can start a conversation. And I've titled my video Heteronormative Behavior in Lesbian and Gay Relationships. I am Giselle Wallace, certified life coach and author. Here on my YouTube channel, I provide my lesbian perspective. And if that interests you, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Heteronormative behavior in lesbian and gay relationships. Although it does say lesbian and gay, that means for lesbian females and gay males or gay females. But if you are anywhere within the LGBTQIA plus acronym, this message also applies to you. Some people want to know how people in relationships between the same sex should conduct their relationships. They want to know about gender roles. They want to know about gender positions. And positions can be, for example, how you participate in the relationship. And it could be romantically, it also could be sexually, but it also can deal with just your behavior, how you conduct yourself in the relationship, what position you see yourself in this relationship that is between two people of the same sex. Gender roles, they're kind of like assignments and titles that you take on. And it's also your reputation, your image, your gender role, and which gender that you relate more with. For example, if you are a female, you are a cisgender female, and you identify as a lesbian, you may be able to relate more to your feminine side, or you may be able to relate more to your masculine side. So it's kind of like whichever gender that you feel like identifies you the best and how you're able to express yourself. So gender roles, gender identity, gender positions, all of this can influence the relationship between two people of the same sex. It becomes complex. It can become frustrating. It may even become confusing when two people come together of the same sex and they don't really sit down and have a conversation about how they are going to interact with each other in their romantic relationship. And we need to have these conversations because you're going in blindly and you're assuming that your partner should already know what to do or how to be. And they really don't, because a relationship requires getting to know each other. So you want to start this during the dating process, of course. That's ideal. That's the purpose of dating. The prefix of date comes from the word data, which means information. So you're gathering information about another person. But not only that, you are also learning yourself, because when you're single, you should be getting to know yourself while you're single. Most definitely, you should be getting to know yourself while you're single, because believe it or not, a lot of people don't know themselves, but that's a whole nother topic. But when you go into a relationship with another human being, you do need to learn about that other person. Relationships are very serious because you're looking to spend a lot of time with this person, share a lot of personal information, even share and exchange very private, vital details about your life, financially, mentally, emotionally, and even sexually and spiritually. So it's not a game. Relationships are very serious. When you're single, it's just you, so you can just get to know yourself. But when you go into the next phase of relationships, because your first relationship needs to be with yourself, the highest relationship, let me just say this, I truly believe the highest relationship you could ever have is a spiritual relationship with God. And that's how you get to learn yourself. And then when you transition to having a relationship with another person of the same sex, and you could be lesbian, gay, bisexual, pansexual, demisexual, asexual, however you identify. When you decide you want to be in a relationship with another human being, you are going to have to learn yourself again. I'll repeat, you are going to have to learn yourself again. And the reason why is because you are now in another relationship status. You are no longer single. You are now in a relationship with another person. And so you don't know everything about yourself when you're single. You get to learn more about yourself when you are in a relationship with another person. And it can become very intense because the partner that you're with almost becomes a mirror of who you are. So you might find yourself clashing with each other, but clashing with each other or having conflict doesn't mean that the relationship is not compatible. It just means nothing's perfect. No relationship is perfect. And relationships require self-growth. They require maturity. They require patience, resilience, self-control, empathy. And you cannot be selfish when you're in a relationship with another person. And when you're with another person, they will say and do things that may irritate you, that may irk you. But that doesn't mean you give up on the relationship. You have to communicate with each other. You have to be patient with each other. And you have to make sure that you understand each other. And I think that what's lacking in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and LGBTQ plus community is discussions about our relationships. We don't see enough of us. When you look at TV, for example, or if you're streaming movies, if you're on social media, if you are just in public every day, you don't really see same-sex attracted couples together. You may see it every once in a while. Or let's go back to our childhood. When you grew up, you probably came from a two-parent household with a mother and a dad, so a heterosexual family. Or even if you came from a single-parent household, whether your mother raised you or your father raised you, in most cases, your parent or parents were heterosexual. So you didn't have any examples of what lesbian relationships looked like or what gay relationships look like. And you began to model your relationship with the same sex after maybe your heterosexual parents' relationship. Because say, for example, if your parents were married and they're heterosexual, they were your first example of what a relationship looks like. If your parents divorced, maybe some of them remarried, or maybe they stayed single. Maybe some of them dated other people who were heterosexual. So all your life, you learned about heterosexual relationships. You only know about heterosexual relationships because it was the example before you. It was modeled before you. And not only that, when we are LGBTQIA plus people, we've been programmed that heterosexuality, heteronormative relationships are ideal. That's IDEAL, meaning they're viewed as the normal standard relationship type. They're also put on a pedestal. This is the relationship that you want, is the message that we've heard all our lives. And we've heard about gay people and lesbians, but it was usually a negative viewpoint of gay relationships. Because you didn't know how to have a gay relationship, your default understanding and knowledge about relationships comes from the heteronormative relationship dynamic. And this is why I've titled my video Heteronormative Behavior in Lesbian and Gay Relationships, is because many gay people, they emulate and they believe in having a relationship that is very similar or even duplicate of a heterosexual relationship between a male and a female. We're so used to being in relationships with someone that we believe should represent and even physically look like a heterosexual relationship, even though we know it's between two gay people, whether it's two males or two females. And we do it without thinking about it because it's all we've known. It's all we've seen. But my question to you is, and I've asked the question to myself, do you think having a heteronormative relationship as a same-sex attracted person with another same-sex attracted person is really what you want to do? Or is it because you have been programmed to have a relationship like a heterosexual relationship? Do you emulate heterosexual relationships in your same-sex attracted relationships because it's all you know and you don't know any other way to do it? If you are emulating a heterosexual relationship in a gay relationship, is it because that's ideal to you? That's what you prefer to do? You enjoy having a heterosexual relationship standard in a gay relationship? Is that what you really desire? Or are you just doing it because you feel pressure to represent yourself as if you are heterosexual, even though you are in a gay relationship or lesbian relationship? Do you think that gay and lesbian people are able to have a relationship that does not model after a heterosexual relationship between a male and a female? You can take notes of what I'm asking. You can play back the video and listen to questions I'm asking and write them down. And you could just process them later and answer them later. If you want to answer the question in the comment section, you can. Just also in your own time, write these questions down and answer the questions. Because in many cases, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and LGBTQ plus people don't even process what they're doing in their relationships. They're just on autopilot. They're just doing what everybody else is doing. And are they really happy? Are they really choosing the kind of relationship that they desire to have for the rest of their life with their same-sex attracted partner? Why are we in relationships that we believe should be exactly like heterosexual relationships? There's so many details when it comes to sexuality, gender identity, and gender expression, gender roles, gender positions. You do need to consider all of it when you are in a relationship with someone of the same sex and you are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or LGBTQIA+. You want to do this while you're single. You want to think about this while you're single. You want to plan ahead, because when it's time for you to be in a relationship with someone of the same sex, you already have written down the questions, you've answered them, you have an idea of exactly what you want and need in a relationship with someone of the same sex. And you want to be with someone who is willing to have those conversations with you. As a life coach, what I have discovered with people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, and LGBTQIA+, when they're in relationships with another person of the same sex, they go in assuming that the other person already knows what to do. They know what role they should play. They think that their partner should know how they should conduct themselves and what behavior should take place in this relationship, whether it's romantic, emotional, mental, or sexual, or even down to just chores and daily activities. And they're shocked and they're troubled when they find out, oh, well, my partner is not doing what I thought they would do. And then it usually boils down to they don't even have conversations together about gender roles, gender identity, gender expression, chores, activities, positions. They never had the conversation. They just decide, well, we'll just act like we're in a heterosexual relationship. The reason why they come to that conclusion is because that's all they've seen modeled before them is a heterosexual relationship. And sometimes they bump heads and they don't agree, or they find out, well, I don't like this, or this is uncomfortable for me. And instead of communicating and talking things out and understanding why they came to the decision to model a heterosexual relationship in a gay relationship or a lesbian relationship, they just decide to call it quits and they end up breaking up. And they end up being single again and then getting in another relationship with someone else of the same sex and repeating the same behavior. And they are not successful in their relationships together as same-sex attracted people. So this is kind of just where I want us to address our relationship issues and concerns and questions and our relationship behaviors. Why are we doing what we're doing? Am I saying that you should choose to be in a relationship dynamic that represents heterosexual couples? That is a decision that you have to decide for yourself, because you have to want that for yourself genuinely. And your partner also has to agree to it as well. They have to want that genuinely. And then you may decide, what can we do to make sure that we are having a relationship together as two people of the same sex that truly satisfies us, that truly fulfills us, that's really authentic. We don't feel like we're forcing ourselves to play certain roles or behaviors. The best way to start is to have this conversation with yourself and then bring it together as a partner. I am a life coach. I coach same-sex attracted couples. I coach you one-on-one, and I coach you as a couple, because it's important to be able to understand how you are feeling individually. And that's why one-on-one life coaching is good. And then when you have couples life coaching as same-sex attracted people, you come together as a couple and you're able to explore and discuss your ideas and your feelings and your thoughts and your behaviors. Because we live in a heteronormative society, we just kind of do what we see all the time. We do what we've been taught to do. And there's other complications in this, like there's comp head. There's some LGBTQIA plus people who have been shamed for being who they are, and they may have a family that doesn't welcome them as a same-sex attracted person. And so you've had to pretty much do things all on your own, and you don't have any guidance, you don't have any examples, you don't have any support. And so you're not really processing who you are as a lesbian, gay, bisexual, or LGBTQIA plus person. You're just going through the motions. You're on autopilot, and you're not really living your life in self-awareness. And self-awareness is key, because when you're self-aware, you recognize yourself. You know your triggers. You know what actually is beneficial for you. And you recognize it in other people because you know who you are. And you're more careful in your interactions and relationships with other people. And you desire to always improve your relationships. But when you're not self-aware, you're just stagnant. You do repetitive behaviors and you just plateau in your relationships, and they usually end up dissolving. Some people stay single. Some people do not like conflict in relationships, but conflict is not negative. Conflict is necessary in order for people to learn each other and strengthen their bond together. So you're going to need conflict. It's going to come regardless whether you like it or not, but you're going to need to communicate with each other and really listen to each other. Don't be so quick to respond and get your point across. Listen to your partner. Listen to their needs and their wants. You're going to have to learn about their upbringing. You're going to have to learn about their family. You're going to have to learn about their triggers, as well as what makes them motivated about life. The beautiful thing about relationships is you really don't have to look at somebody else's relationship in order to have your own successful relationship. I think we're kind of caught up into believing that we need a model, we need an example of a relationship in order to have a relationship. But relationships are very personal and they're different. Every relationship is different and unique. My advice as a life coach to you is to understand that your relationship is going to work out according to your own relationship. You don't know really how other people's relationships are working because you're not in their relationship. So how can you technically extract what they're doing in their relationship and do it in yours and expect it to work? Because relationships require practice, trial and error, and time and experience. Getting to know each other is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a lifelong process. So just enjoy the journey of getting to know your partner. And don't ever feel like you know enough about your same-sex attracted partner, because we always change. We're changing all the time. And that's why we need to tune in with each other. Communication is so important. And just enjoy creating your relationship as you go along. I'm not saying don't look at other people's relationships at all. Invest in your relationship, what you think is healthy. And you do learn that by actually many ways, not just by vicariously watching your parents' relationships or your other heterosexual friends' relationships, for example. You can read books. You can communicate with other people who have been married for, I would say, 10 plus years. And you can learn from other people, absolutely. But what I mean is you really don't know how your relationship is going to work until you are in a relationship with another person and you're being proactive in your relationship together. So it's a relationship. You're no longer single. You have to consider another person. You are responsible for another person. You have invited another human being in your life. So take your time, love the person, grow with the person, expand with the person, enhance your relationship, and make your relationship fit for you and your partner. Compatibility is essential to a healthy relationship. We don't need to be quick to give up on our relationships and say, oh, it didn't work. They didn't do what I wanted them to do, or they didn't like what I did or who I was. Let's make sure that we're taking the time to learn each other and we're having these conversations. Our relationships are complex as same-sex attracted people. And we cannot assume that our partner knows what to do and knows who you are, because they do not. I am a life coach. If you want life coaching, I can be contacted. My contact information is here on YouTube in the description box. So you can click on more and you can see all of my contact information. And my website is www.gisellewallace.com. I'll be glad to speak with you and your same-sex attracted partner. I believe that our relationships as same-sex attracted people are unique, and we are made to love each other. We're same-gender loving people, and I am absolutely excited for you and your current relationship or your future relationship with your same-sex attracted partner. And if you have to block out all of the other voices of people telling you how to conduct your relationship, then absolutely you must do that. So you can't let people from the outside interfere with your relationship on the inside. So relationships are an inside job. Work on your relationships. Hire a therapist. Hire a life coach. Your relationships matter. They're very necessary, and love is love. Thank you for listening. I am Giselle Wallace, certified life coach and author. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share this video. Have a gay day.